Guys, I honestly don't have an opening monologue for this episode, so it makes sense that we are able to rattle off a few memories for you to enjoy. Everyone's like, yeah, please, more of that nonsense. I love when you guys don't talk about things I enjoy. And other snarky comments. It's fine. So I'm just going to go ahead and tell you that this week we're talking about some crazy, and this is, I should, I can't ever give just a clean one sentence intro, can I? I gotta bury it in the ground. I got to explain it into the ground. Way to go, me. Guys, this spawned off of an episode I was working on called, I think, Schoolyard Terror or something like that, where these, like, as a kid in high school or whatever, or even middle school, whatever, Bloody Mary, those types of things, where this kind of rumor would spread around school of this creepy thing that all the kids are doing. And so I came up with a bunch of those. And then these were somewhat within that. And I was like, no, this seems like it needs to be its own personal episode. So this is a spin-off of an episode that's coming out later. You happy? I could have just said that, but I didn't. And it's called When Rituals Go Wrong.
A spin-off is usually after.
You would think, yeah. We don't do things normally right here,
like
Christian.
a prequel.
You should know that. No, I want to say spin-off.
I'll let you say
the
spin-off.
prequel is when the next one comes out. Haha, yes. People are going to hate that. Yeah, the next one, part 2, is the prequel. This one is the spin-off. So
and there's a Mary Sue involved.
Oh, goodness. Heavens to Gretzky. Anyway, this one's called When Rituals Go Wrong, Games and Dares That Cross the Line. So just a bunch of crazy games that people play and the alleged things that happen when you partake in these, which honestly, as someone that has tried some of these things, not these ones in this episode, but in general, nothing ever happened, but creepy all the same, right?
Yeah, I feel like if I remember near the end of the episode, I should tell everybody about a ritual that went wrong for me. But it's not really spooky, so we'll save it to the end, and if I remember, I'll bring it up. It's kind of funny.
Does it have to do with going to the bathroom?
No.
Okay. Well, just had to check. Yeah.
Have I told a story about that before?
No, sometimes, you just get a vibe when you're saying something. I'm like, does this have to do with the bathroom?
I don't even know.
Ritual that went wrong.
I never had a ritual in a bathroom with
Christian,
a dude.
You're being ridiculous.
Not even in college.
Not with a dude. What? Nobody brought up any.
You said
lovers
with a dude in the bathroom.
No, I said dude.
Dude.
Like I'm talking to you like dude.
Oh, okay.
I'm not saying you were with a dude in the bathroom. I'm talking like morning rituals, dude. Every man's got one. Got to wake up and.
This was a sporting ritual. Not hockey though.
Wow, baseball.
Yep.
So with all that aside, are you happy? We're getting into the episode after this.
Wait, I got more to say.
We'll see you on the inside.
You are now entering the realm of the freaky deaky, an unsuspecting stop at the crossroads of fantasy and reality, where the frayed edges of make-believe seep into this cookie-cutter white picket world you've been led to believe is far from extraordinary. What you're about to hear are true stories.
Alleged true stories.
Christian, just... okay? Tales of the strange and inexplicable thought only to exist in film and folklore. Although difficult to accept, we do not know everything about this reality, about time or space, what lies beneath the ocean's depths. And try though we might, the unchanging truth remains. There are some things we legitimately cannot explain logically.
I might end up a little high.
Well, that would be a first.
Because I haven't smoked all day.
Sí se puede. That means this is going to be a really easy episode for me to hammer home my point.
Do you need me to read anything?
No.
Then I'm going to be like Scott, a black. Keep showing your true colors.
Wildly too racist.
In this day and age?
On this podcast, no less? How dare you? Welcome back to the show. I forgot to say that. Hey, we're in here now. I feel like after we disappear for a few weeks and come back, it's always the weirdest take. Like, you got to get acquainted with yourself again. And who am I over these airwaves? And
I just sit here and let you just ramble for a little.
Ramble. I'm like, I forget how to lead into episodes. And really the only people that suffer from it are the good, hearty listeners of the Freaky Deaky. Welcome back to the show.
Most of our listeners don't mind it.
Yeah, the rest of you, you know who you are. And that's all I'm going to say about that. If you are listening to the sound of my voice at this very moment, you may be able to get SauceSquatch on the website. It may be up now. I think if I give myself enough time, I should have enough time to get that listing up and possibly even a couple sticker packs. Been hammering away at those things. You guys have been asking for sticker packs for as long as I can remember. I remember being but a wee chap in elementary school, and one of you sent me an email, said, "Hey Scott, how about them sticker packs, dude? It's been 5 years." And I said, "Yeah, all right, yeah, sure." And then, so I finally did it. But the downside of that is that it's really only going to be available for United States-based audience because shipping is a little crazy internationally. I don't want our Australian listeners or even our Canadian listeners to have to pay, $25 to receive a few podcast stickers. That's just ridiculous. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. But I will continue to look for cheaper shipping options. So if you would like to help support the show, all sticker pack sales do get reinvested into this show to help us grow. Isn't that amazing? Anyway, we got that out of the way. Find us on socials at Freaky Deaky Pod. Share your thoughts, send messages. I've had some really good messages from people lately. Got a bunch of really nice folks that just reach out and are like, "Hey, you're my favorite podcast." And I say, "Hey, weird. Have you listened to this?" And then I never hear from them again. So either way, we love talking to you guys and hearing from you guys. Join the Facebook group. You know how it goes. It's time for us to get in this episode, I think.
Did I mention before, it'll be quick, that I was tree knocking when I was up camping in Colorado?
No, but the visual is giving me life.
You're welcome.
Fun times. Now that's all said and done. Guys, we're getting to this first one. It's called the Midnight Game. Have you heard of that?
I have not.
Several of these I had not heard of before putting this together. I've heard of like the light as a feather, stiff as a board, and Bloody Mary and all that stuff. But there's a surprising amount of crazy games that children will play. From the dark arts.
With light as a feather, stiff as a board, I think the first time that really computed to me was the first, the Craft movie. I feel like I never did it before then or never heard of it before then,
really?
but I'm pretty sure I did.
Yeah, that one I definitely remember.
I don't think I ever played it.
Yeah. I played like the poor man's version of it where it wasn't witchcraft and it's just you making your arms float or whatever. Or am I thinking of a different game?
I mean, light as a feather, stiff as a board is not witchcraft because nobody actually gets lifted by magical hands or demons. It's not real, man.
You can't say that with the utmost certainty because
I just did.
But you've not been around during every single time that game has been played, which is in the millions or hundreds of millions by this point.
Yeah, and not one of them actually.
Are you
hovered.
telling me? Can you tell me right now? Okay, the Earth and everything we know in this universe, the size of the tip of a pin, can explode into everything we've ever known. But someone can't levitate off the earth when their girlfriends are saying light as a feather, stiff as a board? Or saying that's out of the realm of possibilities?
That is completely out of the realm of possibility.
But the entire universe exploding out of nothingness is entirely possible. Not only that, but happened.
If that's the way whoever created everything wanted it to start, that's how it did it.
We got him. We got him, folks. He believes in a single God. Or no, probably not, but it's fine.
I probably do.
Yeah, probably, right? That makes the most sense.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Midnight Game. Let's see how... God, I'm so nervous.
Why are you nervous?
Because it's been 3 weeks. You know what I mean? And like those episodes are always way off the rails. Like super off the rails. And I'm like,
do you ever think maybe I just missed talking to you?
No, I didn't think that at all. I'm thinking more or less about the people that, like when there's a tangent or like a stray conversation, they're like, just fucking talk about the shit,
Okay.
I'm like, hey,
talk about the shit.
I'm like, chill, bro.
I'm ready.
Chill. All right. So anyway, the Midnight Game is a modern ritual that originated from various occult traditions, though its exact origins remain unclear. Often described as a punishment or a summoning game, it involves a player inviting a dark entity called the Midnight Man into their home at exactly midnight. The player's goal is to survive until 3:33 a.m. without being caught or touched by this malevolent presence. Failure to do so is said to result in terrifying consequences, including physical harm or prolonged hauntings. The ritual requires preparation. Participants must write their full name on a piece of paper, prick their finger, and let a drop of blood fall on their paper. Then, they must sprinkle the paper with a circle of candlelight. I'm almost nervous to even give people like step-by-step directions on how to do this.
It's not a bomb.
Well, now
so
I hope we're on a list now, Christian.
This
that
is
just
not
happened.
dangerous.
Maybe.
Witchcraft's not real. Not that kind of
Okay.
witchcraft.
Let me see. Do I have... Oh,
I am wrong.
let's bring back that classic, Anyway, then they must surround the paper with a circle of candlelight to, quote, invite the Midnight Man in. At the stroke of midnight, the player knocks on the front door 22 times and opens it, inviting the entity inside. The door is then closed and the game begins. Once inside, the Midnight Man supposedly stalks the player. The participant is warned to avoid staying in one place for too long or else risk being caught. Carrying a lit candle is essential. If the candle goes out, the player has 10 seconds to relight it or must surround themselves with a circle of salt for protection. Stories from those who have attempted the game often report feelings of dread, cold spots, and hearing footsteps or whispers moving closer. One documented account, documented is a loose term for this, but it is what I could find. We'll take it.
Fair enough.
One documented account from a paranormal forum involved a young woman who played the midnight game alone. She described hearing footsteps circling her house, and at one point, the candle went out mysteriously. Terrified, she struggled to relight it and claimed to feel an invisible hand brush against her back. She escaped the game unharmed, but reported a lingering sense of being watched for weeks afterward. Folklorists suggest that the midnight game taps into universal fears of the dark and the unknown, amplified by ritualistic actions that heighten anticipation and anxiety. The number 3:33 a.m. is often called the witching hour, which, I've heard that almost every hour from midnight to like 6 a.m. is the witching hour. Some people say it's 3, some people say it's 4. I've heard people even go as far as like 5, 3:33. I've never once heard 3:33 a.m. is the witch. I just thought that's like half evil.
I heard it was 3 something, I thought.
Maybe 3:30.
Or
but 3:33 is very...
I bet you that's something based on numerology or
perhaps.
like
Someone that knows more than us, go ahead and comment what the true witching hour is. Okay, I've heard so many things over the past 20 years that at this point I'm like, who knows? Anything after midnight is creepy. Can we just say that? Can we say it's spooky?
Give me just a second. I'm going to tell you what the true witching hour is.
According to Google. Anyway.
In Western folklore, witching hour is typically midnight, especially the time between midnight and 1 a.m. Alternative, some traditions, particularly in older European folklore, place the witching hour between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m.
Those are probably the most common ones I hear are 3 and midnight. So yeah, maybe it's been somewhat accurate. I just hate hearing different things and then everyone says it like it's gospel. And I'm like, okay, which one is it? You know?
I feel like I always heard 3.
Yeah.
And 3:33 just sounds like somebody's like, oh, 3:33. Let's make it that.
Yeah.
When they're going to make up a game.
Yeah. If you really want to do it hard, go 7:02.
What is 7:02? 9?
Wow. No, it's 6:66, wouldn't it be?
7:02?
Yeah. Wouldn't it be?
How would that be 6:66?
No,
I mean,
yeah,
not that number.
More, 7:06.
Not that number means anything.
7:06. Sorry, everyone. Math lost it on that one. 7:06 would technically be 6:66. No,
if that were a thing.
What is a thing? So
it's not, but
it's
people believe it is.
It's a number. Is it not a number?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it is a number. So there's that. So yes, the number 3:33 a.m. is often called the witching hour, a time when supernatural activity is believed to peak. The candlelight and blood offerings connect to traditional protective and summoning rituals in many cultures. Skeptics maintain that the experiences during the game are psychological in nature. You don't say. The game's instructions prompt heightened awareness, and the player's fear may trigger auditory and tactile hallucinations. The adrenaline rush and fear of failure can cause physical reactions mistaken for supernatural attacks. Despite skepticism, paranormal investigators note that some participants report consistent sensory phenomenon during the game, such as temperature drops, unexplained noises, and fleeting shadows. Some theorize the ritual may open a temporary portal to a spirit realm or attract residual energy trapped in the environment. Hey, someone been listening to the confessionals? No,
I'm not going to even comment on this because I think everybody that knows me knows my thoughts on something like that.
Wow. A little conceited, but okay. The Midnight Game has become popularized online, especially on forums and YouTube channels where viewers share experiences and warnings. The digital spread has increased its notoriety, making it one of the more widely known modern paranormal challenges. Although the game is seen as harmless by many experienced paranormal experts, you know the ones, probably Zach Baggins and his dumbass crew. It's fine. Caution against playing it due to its psychological toll and potential to provoke unwanted spiritual attention. The ritual exemplifies how folklore evolves in the digital age, blending ancient fears with modern storytelling. Now, I feel like this might be officially me being aged out of a youthful algorithm because I had never heard of this.
I haven't either.
You know, so if this is popular on YouTube and stuff, and your boy hasn't seen it, we're on YouTube all the time, Christian.
I'm on YouTube looking at those types of things all the time.
Yeah. So maybe we're just not hip and young anymore. It's fine.
But I do have a theory to what's causing some of these people's experiences. Let me burp first. Okay, I'm done.
Okay.
Hypnosis. You're carrying around a candle in a dark room,
Yes.
and a candle can kind of hypnotize you if you're focused on it,
Why would you be focused on it?
because that's just where your eyes are going to go if you can't see anything else.
Well, I think you have to be able to see where you're going. You're running away from an entity.
You're not going to see very far with a candle.
Yeah, you'll see far enough.
I disagree.
They illuminate, you know.
Yeah, but the actions of the flame.
Bro, you ever seen Little House on the Prairie? All right. They're pretty well illuminated from those 3 candles. I'll tell you what.
That's the stage lighting. I thought you knew about filmmaking.
Christian, are you telling me that back in the day, they were just in the dark in their home and they just had one tiny light, but they had to stare at the light and they're all getting
They probably had
hypnotized?
3 or 4 candles going back in the day,
Yeah.
unless they were poor. But we're talking about one person
One candle.
walking around with one candle thinking they're playing a game that's even close to Bloody Mary, which
Sure.
also is not true.
Should have had 16 candles.
Great movie, but it is true. It could not be made today. I didn't realize it until I've watched that in the last 6 months. I was like, ooh, that's so bad.
A little predatory. Yeah, they all were back in the day, and that's fine.
Music was top notch in that movie, though.
Have you heard the song 16 Candles?
Yes,
fine.
it's on my phone right now.
Hell yeah.
One of my first cut crushes, Molly Ringwald.
Yeah, every time you find out, even for a Spooky Ghost podcast, I've heard you mention Molly Ringwald so many times. So many times. And I don't even think we've ever been on the subject of Molly Ringwald that often.
She's just one of those actresses that were around at that time when you're like paying attention and like one of your first crushes. She played high school girls, so at the time.
Ooh. Just to make up for some of the tangents in that last story, we're going to go ahead and dive in this next one pretty quickly. It's called One Man Hide and Seek.
Why would you do that?
Don't have friends, Christian. It happens, right?
That is true.
You don't know my story. Anyway, One Man Hide and Seek is a ritualistic game similar to the traditional hide and seek, but it involves summoning an entity that will hunt the player through their home or designated area. I can see, are you drawing similarities to the last one already?
No, I was thinking of something about ritualistic.
May your mind wander. Anyway, the ritual is said to originate from a mix of folklore and internet legend, but reports and experiences from players have circulated widely, lending it a persistent presence in modern occult culture. The basic rules require the participant to turn off all the lights and find a hiding place while chanting an invocation to summon a dark spirit.
What's the invocation? Did you look that up?
No, why would I share that with people? So if you guys want to summon a dark spirit in the dark of your home, what you're going to want to say is Nana Nana Boo Boo. No, that'd top notch if that was the invocation. That would get me to come. I'd be like, what the hell are you saying to me, boy? Find you in the dark. Try me. Anyway, yeah, chanting an invocation that I will not share with you guys because that's not me. The spirit is believed to be invisible and relentless, seeking the player. The participant's goal is to survive the hunt until dawn without being found or physically touched by the entity. If caught, the consequences are said to be severe, sometimes involving hauntings or psychological torment. Hell yeah. Bring on the psychological torment. Reports from those who have attempted the game often describe intense fear, hearing footsteps or whispering voices, and sensations of being watched or brushed against. Some players claim that the entity can move objects, slam doors, or cause electronic devices to malfunction during the ritual. One notable first-hand account involves a young man who recorded his experience attempting one-man hide-and-seek in an abandoned house. He claimed that while hiding in a closet, he heard footsteps approaching from multiple directions and reported seeing a dark shadow move just outside the doorway. After narrowly escaping, he found unexplained scratches on his arms, which he attributed to the entity. Historically, hide-and-seek games involving spirits have roots in European folk traditions where children played games to, quote, summon or test supernatural beings. These rituals often involved protective charms or specific chants to avoid harm. The modern one-man hide-and-seek adapts these elements, but with a darker, more dangerous twist. Skeptics argue that many experiences are the result of heightened fear in the dark, isolated environments combined with suggestibility and the power of expectation. The sounds and movements reported can often be explained by natural causes such as the house settling, wind, or animals. Yeah, you know the animals that run with those heavy boots in your house all the time?
I remember when my dog Bristol used to run upstairs, sometimes it sounded like heavy boots.
Occasionally, but most of the time you can pick it up.
Especially if she was like scared of something. Then it's a drunk person with heavy boots.
Heck yeah. Best kind. Nevertheless, investigators note that some locations where one-man hide-and-seek has been played show increased electromagnetic activity and unexplained cold spots.
Oh, yeah, it does.
Hell yeah. Hey, if you guys want the brain does stuff, we get cold spots. But hey, it's cold, there must be a ghost, all right? You guys get your brain can sometimes, you and your friend's brain together can sometimes create one hallucination that's never been proven or experienced.
Actually, I'm pretty sure that has been proven that can happen. It's called a shared hallucination.
Yeah, we talked about this in the past.
Many times.
Yeah, where we said that it's actually not ever been a proven case of that.
Neither is any of the stuff we talk about.
But see, like, it should be fair and square all along then. It should be maybe ghosts, maybe brain. But for the most part, ghosts makes most sense. So,
except I've shared an hallucination with someone before, so.
Christian, you're making that up because we had this exact conversation in the past. You have never.
I discount this one generally because of the state of mind I was in and my friend was in. So,
was it a ghost in a hotel room?
No, it was just something weird that happened. No, this was the
ghost.
It was a living. It wasn't even a ghost. It was just felt like somebody was standing over me.
Oh yes, you did actually say that.
Yeah,
but you have shared that. I don't remember when.
Yeah, and then my friend was across the room, and we both looked at each other at the same time, and I said, I thought somebody was standing over me. And he's like, I thought somebody was standing over me, too.
Yeah, you were taking drugs. Yep.
I was.
Taking drugs, I remember.
I was young.
Anyway, the ritual's popularity has grown thanks to...
the internet?
Pretty much. So, yeah, the same way anything grows anymore. As someone that has more than 8 followers on Instagram or, TikTok, says something fake into a microphone, and everyone loses their minds and then spreads it around.
Also, that guy's sitting at home watching Pornhub. Something grows.
Something
Still
grows,
the internet.
as opposed to something fantastic.
I think it
One man's gross can be another man's fantastic, you know?
Could be. I have a really good box. I want him to think about my raw meat.
Wow.
And that secretly is how you play this. That's the ritual right there.
There you go. That's the incantation. Talk about your raw meat in a box and some plums. Yeah, for the record, I don't really believe any of these. I think all of these are games, but I think that the evil spirits can taunt you with them.
I don't believe in evil spirits, but I do believe that this could have a psychological effect on people.
I'm to the point where you've mentioned brains and psychological effects so much that I think that's evil. That I'm like, no, brains and psychological thoughts are evil spirits now.
It's funny, too, because there is a lot of pushback when that is said. And I have theories on it, why there's pushback on it. It'll end up in a rant. We'll get to it someday.
Yeah. By the time this comes out, we'll have completely forgotten about this conversation.
Maybe we'll get to it at the end of the episode, but I'm trying to be better about
being better.
Yeah.
It's fine. This is already, I feel like this episode's already a lost cause. I feel it in my loins. So people can let me know. Sometimes, look, there's people that absolutely hate the tension episodes. And then there's people that are like, those are my favorite episodes. So,
yeah.
And I like those people more than the other people. I'm sorry.
We've been through multiple states recently.
That's true. Both physically and also in the mind. And that's the way it goes sometimes. Didn't think you were going to get sage wisdom from a spooky ghost podcast, did you?
I mean, that's why they listen to me.
Wow. So conceited. But anyway, so users, Sean Connery, ladies and gentlemen, users share instructions and stories, which has also contributed to spread as a form of almost urban legend at this point, I guess you could say. And that's what I'm going to say. It's pretty much an urban legend. But why does this generation get all the cool games, you know? This feels like a really spooky game to play. Not a single one of our audience members would play this game.
The reason they get the cool games now is because they don't go outside as much. Back in,
I made it sad. Cool.
Prior to maybe the last 20 years, we were able to go around and operate more freely in most cases.
Is this going to be an old man rant?
No, I'm just saying that direction. So when you're kind of stuck inside doing your inside stuff, I do the same thing now. I like to be inside a lot of times.
Yeah. Turns out the world's kind of stupid.
I just think that you come up with new things and there are variations on other games that are mixed with urban legends.
I would love to know the first person that tried this, or the first person that said that this was a game, and what they think now. You know, like, holy crap, man! I didn't realize that I'd ever be on a spooky ghost podcast.
Well, and sometimes you trace that stuff back and you find out it was some idiot that just wrote something stupid when they were 17 to convince people they were edgy or something.
Yeah. Cool move, edgelord.
And then years later, it took on a life of its own, and this has been around and it's important.
Yeah. This is important. Great podcast.
Never heard of it.
It's the dudes from Workaholics.
That's the difference between you and I. You watch a lot of comedy podcasts.
I'm sorry.
I'm like straight out history.
Yeah.
CIA stuff.
Yeah. Look, listen to me. Folks that are here for the comedy element, this is important. Hilarious show. Off the wall. Also a soundboard. Congratulations to Chris Delia. Hilarious show. Off the wall. Also a soundboard. Bad Friends. Hilarious show. Off the wall. No soundboard. Okay? There's 3. You're welcome. Go laugh. Go enjoy your lives. It's very dark out there these days.
I don't mind people laughing.
Yeah.
It's just not
I've
me.
been told this show is hilarious.
I think sometimes it is.
I think most times it is, Christian. I don't think you fully grasp it. This is actually a comedy podcast.
I grasp it. It's all
Okay.
comedy to me.
Okay. Well, then if you truly believe that, don't say that sometimes it's funny. That's a failure of a
You
comedy
just called me
podcast.
conceited. I was trying to take it down a notch.
Okay.
I apologize.
You should,
I'll go back
honestly.
to conceited.
We need confidence. Confidence. Wow. This bread clip really just brought the little bitch out of me. You saw that?
Did it cut you?
Yeah, it stabbed me at the little pointy bits. It's like, why is that here? I was like, oh yeah, Christmas lights were on here at some point.
I feel like maybe I should talk to you like I talk to your son. That's going to hurt. Don't
Yeah.
do that. That's going to hurt. Don't
Start
do that.
Crying every 30 seconds. This next one is called The Closet Game. In this one, you bring a boy that you say is your friend. And this
Or
is,
girl.
Yeah, whatever works for you, honestly.
Whatever you're into.
I was just talking about my own personal experiences. It's cool. No.
You're married, Scott. It's a bad time to come out of the closet.
I know. You know what? I was mentioning this on the other show, was that there's a part of me, like, you know how we have like really flamboyant hoodies, and I have like a super flamboyant personality when I'm being goofy. I don't want to wear the really flamboyant hoodies out in public because I'm like, and I never knew why. I sat there and was like, why? Like, if I leave the house, I take this off, I'll put something else on.
That's so funny.
Yeah. And then I'm like, oh, I know. It's because I was like I'm part of the last generation that was worried about being seen as gay. And that's just like embedded in you, where it's like, oh, is people going to be like, oh, that's a gay hoodie, dude. I'm like, dude, I'm married with a child.
I don't know which hoodies you're talking about are flamboyant.
You haven't, actually, no, you might have seen it. I ordered it as a joke. The one that's like the new colors, like that gradient. It almost looks like, rainbow sherbet or something like that. That purple and the orange and stuff. That's like a full print on this hoodie with a big SauceSquatch down here on the pocket. And I ordered it as a joke to wear with just like videos and stuff. And I got it. I'm like, damn, I actually kind of love this. I love this for me. And then I had an internal struggle about whether or not that made me gay.
That doesn't make you gay.
I know. I realized that it takes a lot more with so many good sound bites for that. But I'm just saying that, like, growing up in like my generation, that was the thing. Like we were at the tail end of the, oh, that's gay. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
So we're not there anymore. But part of that, elementary school is still in there. Where it's just like, hey,
I get it, man.
Hey, your friends are gonna laugh at you. Like, well, yeah, it's kind of the point of friendship. Okay.
Oh, you don't know that then.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like adult men should have their kids at a certain age hang out with their friends so that they realize that it's just a roast session.
Yeah, that's all it ever is.
Constantly.
Yeah, nonstop.
And then as a child, and explain to the child, this is kind of what friendship is. There's a line you don't cross.
Yeah.
If they're not your friends, they cross that line way easier.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, you're going to get roasted when you're hanging out with guys.
Especially if you're hanging out with me. It happens too often. Too often to the fact where I'm like, that's why I need the show, is because I just roast nothing the entire time.
Mm.
And I save the feelings of my friends and family.
Should be one of my coworkers.
You just need me in your back pocket. If someone starts talking shit, I'll be like, oh, I can roast them back, Christian. All right? Like,
I roast him.
I'm 100% that guy. It's fine. Anyway, Into the Closet Game. It's not called Into the Closet Game. It's called The Closet Game, but you guys understand. Anyway, back to that stuff. The Closet Game is one of the more chilling paranormal rituals that has been passed down in various forms for decades, especially among teenagers, daring each other to confront the supernatural.
I feel like I've been part of this game.
Was it 7 Minutes in Heaven?
I don't know, man. I don't just keep going.
Spin the bottle.
What?
Was it spin the bottle?
No, I just feel like closets have been a scary thing for children.
I think closets are, to this day, a closet is a scary thing to me.
Oh yeah, I will not sleep with anything open to the door, closet door open.
Nope. It's the way it is, folks. We don't make the rules. We just tell you to obey them. Anyway, at its core, the game requires the participant to enter a dark, confined closet or small room, close the door, and invite a spirit or entity to join them inside. Unlike other games that take place in an open or communal area, the closet game isolates the player, amplifying the fear through darkness and confinement. You know what I'm just realizing with this episode is that it's getting like just more and more confined. It feels like the same game that people have taken, and they're just switching the rules a little bit.
So we should offer a trigger warning if you're claustrophobic. We don't know where this is going.
Or if you're in the closet still. If that's still you, it's fine. You can come out.
Sometimes the acoustics are better in the closet. Maybe that's why they're listening to us in the closet. Do you ever think of that?
If you have earbuds, I don't think that really affects the acoustics that much.
There was a Chris Cornell song. For the movie Singles that he recorded in his closet, and that is the version that is in the movie.
Okay. I'm aware of acoustics, Christian. I made music for quite some time. Closets are great space. Also, bathrooms, surprisingly, can be a really good spot, but it has to be the right bathroom. Otherwise, it gets too echoey.
Yeah.
I had a nice bathroom. I'm not going to get into it, guys. This isn't the episode for it. You don't want to hear about the nice acoustics bathroom I had? No, that is
I totally want to hear about it.
That is a story for another time. I don't want to bore you guys with that. That's too much. I'm just trying to egg on the people that can't respond right now. It's cool. So anyway, the mechanics are simple. The participant goes into the closet, shuts the door tightly, and calls out to any entity present. The game's lore warns that the spirit may try to communicate through knocking, scratching, or even by creating temperature drops. Some versions of the ritual instruct the player not to open the door for a set amount of time, usually around 5 to 10 minutes, to avoid angering the entity. Many who have played the closet game report intense sensory experiences. These include hearing persistent knocks or tappings on the walls of the closet. Could be mice. You're welcome, Christian. I said that for you, so you didn't have to.
How settling. We talked about it earlier.
Yeah, you guys know the sounds that your house makes every single day, apparently, but exclusively when you play creepy games in a closet.
I think you tune them out every day. And then when it's really quiet, because if you think about it, most of us don't sit in silence as much as we should. And when we do, we're not always focused. So I just think maybe you notice those sounds differently when you're either creeped out playing a game or you're just kind of alone and in the wrong kind of mood. But it's always there. You just tune them out most of the time like we normally do.
Yeah, the wrong kind of mood. I'm scared. It's fine. So
Unless there's a demon.
There are demons. That does happen.
I don't agree, but
okay. Well,
I try to give a little bit of leeway here.
Christian, you're going to come around, man. You don't got to worry about it. You don't got to worry about it right now.
I hope I don't ever come around to demons.
You're going to come around. You're going to be like, at some point, you're slowly going to be, the door is going to be open to you over time, and then you're going to be like,
Here's why I don't want to come around to demons.
Because that's scary.
Because I'd have to meet a demon and talk to it and interact with it for me to believe in it. And it would have to be very convincing. And if it's that convincing, it would have to be pretty damn scary. So I'm okay where I'm at. I'm going to stay here.
I think you might find that you could meet a demon that looks just like one of us. You know?
No.
In the day, yeah.
That sounds like a bunch of crazy ass talk.
This is the show for Crazy Ass Talk, which is our next podcast. Welcome to Crazy Ass Talk.
With special fragrances.
Huh. Is that
scratch and sniff?
Is that fart jokes? Are we fart jokes
totally,
on our podcast, dude? It's like, this is not the show. This is a professional podcast, Christian.
I'm sorry. It just slipped out.
Broke my back for 2.5 hours to edit this, all right? That's fine. Anyway, so some versions of the ritual instruct the player not to open the door 5 to 10 minutes. It sounds like they're trying to make out, like in 7 Minutes of Heaven.
No, they're by themselves.
Yeah, they're making out with the ghost. Just like, what's her name?
Hey, to each their own.
Hey, it wouldn't be the first time.
What's her name?
Whoever was with Patrick Swayze in Ghost.
Oh, Demi Moore.
Yeah, there you go. They tried to make out with a ghost now.
Still one of my favorite demons.
Sure.
Second to Constantine's demons.
Okay.
The demons that took the people away in Ghost. Scary as hell.
I don't remember them, so I probably blocked it out. But it has been many moons since I've seen Ghost. Anyway.
Me too.
Sure, Christian. You know you were watching it last week. That's why it's so fresh in your mind.
Nope. Dirty Dancing, man. I told you.
That's true. Mine was Footloose. But anyway, many...
Love that movie.
Yeah.
When it came out.
I'm sure you still love it. Anyway, many who have played the Closet Game report intense sensory experiences. These include... Sorry, I just read that, didn't I?
Yeah, because all these sensory experiences are going to be the same. Knocks and pings, cold spots, strange sounds coming from the house.
The fun part is feeling cold drafts or sudden drops in temperature. And in some cases, the sensation of being touched by an unseen force.
Can I ask you something on the feeling cold spots?
Yes.
Could that be the process? It's going to sound like I'm going to say the brain. It's partly the brain.
You trying to trick me with brain shit?
No, I'm being very upfront about it. But in a state of fear or paranoia or stress, your brain's going to produce different chemicals that might lower your blood sugar, which could explain some of that.
Perhaps. If you're alone. Yeah, if you feel cold spots when you're with someone, I don't know about that. And a lot of that could just be circulation, airflow, but...
Or just heightened awareness.
Or just ghosts, honestly. It could be ghosts.
If you have a thermometer and you got a camera on the thermometer and it's not a digital one, I might believe you about cold spots. But otherwise, cold spots are kind of subjective to me.
Yes, that does check out, surprisingly. I was really hoping you'd believe in this one.
No, you didn't. You knew I wouldn't.
Yeah. If I don't believe in something, I know for sure you're not going to believe in it. I'm showing my range as a podcast host, Christian. That's what I'm doing today. I'm showing my range. Hey, I can believe in stuff. Could also not believe in stuff. Yeah, you never really know what you're going to get, huh? You're going to get honesty. Okay? You're welcome.
I believe Charles Manson worked with the CIA. I believe some of the stuff we talk about.
That was stuff that you talked about. Okay.
You talked too.
I did.
But I believe in stuff like that.
Oh.
I struggle with cold spots and knocks and pings.
And conspiracies. He still thinks that, yeah, guys, it's for another podcast, honestly.
I think I'm right on those conspiracies that are not conspiracies.
Yeah. Okay.
If you want a podcast on that, let us know.
What, on conspiracies? We've already been asked multiple times to do that. It would honestly tear everyone apart, guys, and we don't want to do that too.
That's why I don't like modern conspiracies. I'll do old ones.
Yeah. One widely shared case from the 1990s, I don't even remember what we're talking about anymore, involved a teenager named Emily who attempted the game at a sleepover. Closet game. Brought it back around. She reported that as soon as she closed the closet door, knocking began from within the walls, growing louder and more insistent. She described feeling a cold hand brush her arm despite being alone. And when she finally opened the door, her friends claimed to see a dark, shadowy figure retreating down the hallway. Emily later confessed she felt haunted for months afterward, often avoiding closets in small enclosed spaces altogether. Historically, closets in small enclosed spaces have been seen as liminal zones. We've kind of touched on that a little bit in the past, but we should honestly do a whole episode. That'd be cool.
They are fascinating.
Thresholds between the physical world and the supernatural. European folklore often references closets, cupboards, or pantries as places where spirits could be trapped or where encounters with the paranormal were more likely. The idea that spirits could manifest in confined spaces resonates with the belief that ghosts occupy spaces that are, quote, in between, neither fully here nor gone. Skeptics argue that the closet game's effects are primarily psychological. Yeah, you already know.
Yeah, I feel like this part of it's gonna be the same as the other stories.
Yeah. Well, it's honestly, anytime I say skeptics believe in a podcast episode, you already know what it is.
Yeah. There's no science involved in the story, so you can't convince them unless you bring some actual proof. Bad science.
So I try, like I include those bits because I want it to be kind of more fair, but it's always going to be the exact same thing, you know? I need to try to find juicier skeptical takes. So it's always just people like, nah, actually, I think it's just a hallucination. Okay, well, skeptics believe that.
I'm not sure a skeptic would necessarily throw hallucinations in a lot of these, though.
They would. Auditory.
I mean, yeah, I
visual.
do a lot. I believe most of them are hallucinations in one form or another. So I guess you're right.
Wow. You proved my point for me, Christian. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So anyway, the heightened suggestibility and hallucinations. The mind may interpret creaks, drafts, or even the player's own heartbeat as signs of paranormal presence. Sleep deprivation or anticipation can exacerbate these effects, making the game's experiences feel deeply real, even when no external phenomenon exists.
The sleep deprivation was a good ad there, because that makes a lot of sense to knock out some of these, because we all know.
If you want to.
If you
really
want to
do that.
I mean, some of the issues with some of these things are definitely sleep deprivation.
No, you would think that, but here's the thing: your boy has been sleep deprived.
Yeah, I've been a parent. I know what you mean.
But even outside of that, just like work alone, like I've done in my life,
no,
tons of times.
I agree.
I never hallucinate.
When I was young, I didn't sleep much. I didn't hallucinate either, but also some people hallucinate much easier than others. And some people are affected by sleep deprivation.
But if I see things,
you believe they're real.
You would think that also I would have that same thing happen to me when I'm sleep deprived. No, you would think that I would see things more if I.
Depends.
I don't think that it does. I think one answers the other.
No, I don't think sleep deprivation has a single way of manifesting.
So the game is not without its dangers. I know what you're thinking. Yes, it is. Some who have played claim that the entities become aggressive or follow them beyond the closet, leading to relationships. No. To nightmares, sleep paralysis, or poltergeist activity. For this reason, many experienced paranormal practitioners.
When you keep saying the closet, it just
once
the 12-year-old wants to just pop out and be an idiot.
Yeah, we struggle with that this episode, it seems. But anyway, yeah, some people say that, after doing this, that these ghosts followed me and suddenly I'm haunted. But
maybe they should go see a therapist.
Yeah, that doesn't really work all the time, though.
It doesn't. But you don't give up.
What are you, Tim Allen?
Then you go see
Galaxy Quest.
Then you go see a priest. That doesn't work. You go see your grandma.
And if she's dead, then you're talking to a ghost.
Theoretically, yeah, in a way.
Anyway, we got two more that I'm gonna we've really just filled this episode with tangents galore.
You're welcome.
And maybe that's the way we're taking things now. Okay. Maybe we don't care if you want us to just talk about spooky ghost stuff. Maybe we got stuff we got to get off our chest too. All right. Because grown men don't always get that opportunity. And sometimes it's nice. All right. We got to be a big, strong man all the time. Big, strong man. All right. I don't get to talk about ghosts. Christian doesn't get to talk about beans. All right.
I had somebody come into the store the other day and was like, what's the thing with beans?
You know what's hilarious? I was thinking about that today because we haven't used any bean stuff in so long, but we still use it as a meme. And so everyone, like the new listeners that come on, they're like, what the hell is the deal? And nobody knows that Christian, I've never heard him talk about beans outside of this podcast. And not even in this podcast has he talked about beans, but it's stuck for whatever reason,
Try explaining that to somebody in the middle of a pot shop.
I have tried several times.
I was like, your azaleas will go really good in this pot.
Shop. Aha. Yeah, you thought he was slinging dope. Nope.
Legally.
Okay, well, it sounds less cool when you say that, for the record.
I just need to remind some of the YouTube algorithm or whatever in other states that it's legal.
Oh, it's legal, Google. Please don't shut us down.
Again.
Google. Papa Zuck. Anyway, I'm going to speed through the rest of this, folks.
I'm going to attempt to shut up.
And I'm going to attempt to read this cleanly. It's called the Answer Man Ritual.
Okay, this one sounds a little interesting.
The Answer Man?
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought for once you're going to be like, okay, I've heard of this. Because then I'm like, hell yeah. Because then you'd be able to tell me if I got anything wrong. Me, I'm like, I've never heard of this before. I'm just piecing together what I find on the internet. And the internet is notoriously disinformation. It's everywhere. You can't escape it. So like I do my best, but I'm like, if I haven't actually heard of this, I'm just trusting folks on the internet, which is never really that great of a deal.
Nothing ever goes wrong with that.
Yeah, I do it all the time. Technically, our listeners are folks on the internet. Damn it. The Answer Man Ritual is a chilling and lesser known occult game that has circulated quietly for decades. It is said to be a method for summoning It is said to be a method for summoning. Are you having a heart attack over there?
I was laughing at how you stopped that.
Oh, I was like, I just heard like weird noises and I would glance over and you're like clutching your chest. I'm like, yeah.
So it was funny you stopped right.
It is said to be a method for summoning an entity known only as the Answer Man, who purportedly holds the key to any question asked, from personal mysteries to cosmic secrets.
Okay, I need to know. You're going to tell me how to play this game, right? Because I'm going to go home and play it.
I wouldn't lead you astray, Christian. That was the whole plot of this episode, was to get you to go home and try these.
I have a creepy closet that has a cellar underneath in it, so I'm ready.
A wine cellar?
No, just a regular cellar.
That is creepy.
Yeah.
No thanks. Participants gather in a darkened room, usually at night, with a mirror and a candle. The classic tools of summoning rituals, if you will. The ritual begins with a strict set of instructions that include staring deeply into the mirror while repeating a chant designed to invoke the presence of the answer man. Is there aliens beaming down? Or is that bass from a car?
I can't hear it.
You're like,
It would definitely be bass because
it's not aliens?
Yeah.
Damn it. Night is ruined. So these people are repeating a chant designed to invoke the presence of the answer man. The atmosphere quickly thickens as many report feeling an oppressive presence or a sudden drop in temperature. You guessed it, Christian. The origins of this ritual are murky, but kind of traced back to at least the 1970s, possibly earlier, when it was passed along in secretive occult circles and handwritten grimoires. Hell yeah. Whip out your grimoires, ladies. It's time. Some folklorists believe it is a modern evolution of classic scrying practices where mirrors were used as portals to the spirit world. Unlike many other mirror rituals, the answer man is said to be uniquely interactive, willing to communicate answers aloud or through subtle movements in the reflections. Creepy. This sets it apart from passive hauntings or simple apparitions, lending an eerie intelligence to the phenomenon. One of the most frequently cited accounts comes from a group of teenagers in the Pacific Northwest in the late 1980s. According to their testimony, after following the ritual precisely, they asked the answer man a personal question about a missing family member. Moments later, the candle flickered violently and the mirror's surface appeared to ripple like water. One of the girls claimed to hear a faint whisper giving a location, a remote hiking trail near the town. Skeptics point to coincidence or suggestion, but a subsequent search reportedly found belongings from the missing person near the trail, sparking local curiosity and fear. Now, granted, I could not actually track that story. I tracked Pacific Northwest and, this story or whatever, but not the actual literal event that happened. All I could find was this kind of snippet of it. So take that for gospel, if you will. The psychological impact of the answer man ritual is another aspect that fuels its mystique. The experience often leaves participants shaken, not stirred. Again, 2 James Bond jokes in 2 months or less? Crazy. Whether or not they encounter anything tangible. This has led some experts to suggest that the ritual exploits human suggestibility and the power of expectation, akin to the ideometer effect seen in Ouija board sessions, your favorite. Yet this doesn't fully explain the detailed knowledge some participants have reportedly received or the physical changes in the environment described. For those involved, it becomes less about rational explanation and more about an undeniable brush with something beyond normal understanding. Despite its dangers, the ritual has continued to spread, particularly, once again, websites and forums. Discussions frequently include warnings about respecting the rules. Breaking them is said to provoke the answer man's wrath, sometimes resulting in persistent hauntings or psychological torment. One chilling online post recounts a participant who ignored the final step to extinguish the candle properly and afterward experienced nightly disturbances, shadow figures, and whispered threats until they sought help from a local spiritual healer. Researchers have attempted to catalog the variations of the ritual across cultures, noting that many share similar features, darkness and reflected surfaces, and a formal invocation. Some anthropologists argue this points to a universal archetype in human consciousness related to the mirror as a symbol of the self and the unknown. The answer man, in this context, may represent the human desire for hidden knowledge and the dangers inherent in pursuing it too eagerly. This aligns with countless myths about trickster spirits and forbidden knowledge, making the ritual a modern mythos in itself. Despite the fear and fascination, many who have experienced the ritual insist on its legitimacy and caution others to approach with respect and preparedness. The consensus among believers is clear. The answer man is not to be trifled with, and those seeking answers from the beyond must be ready to face consequences that go far beyond simple curiosity.
Okay, so some of the rituals in this game remind me a little bit of how Nostradamus got some of his answers.
Well, they did say this was similar, like scrying and stuff like that from the past, right?
Because they used a candle and a mirror. Now, Nostradamus basically used the same thing, but his mirror was
full of water or something, right? Yeah.
In a darkened room. So that maybe, I'm not saying it's true. I just think that that's also another way of kind of hypnotizing yourself. And maybe you do get the answers when you do that, or some of the answers.
You tap into the great beyond.
Inside your head.
Huh?
Inside your head.
Oh. Well, that's great news, folks. You don't have to travel far for the great beyond. It's been inside your head this entire time.
Unless, of course, your consciousness also sits outside of your body, like some new theories are saying. But that's for another episode. We'll get back to that at a later time. We wanted to get through these stories. I just wanted to throw out that some of the rituals reminded me straight out of the days of Nostradamus and how he got his quatrains.
Yeah, and for the record, I don't think that the consciousness bit is too wild and out there. I think people are made of three pieces.
It makes a little bit more sense, especially with some of the things we talk about, if that's the case, and why some people can experience things and other people can't.
You got body, soul, and spirit, right?
Or, I mean, you can call it whatever you want to, but if your consciousness your consciousness interacts with some of these things and you're able to interpret it in a way, you could have experiences.
Sure.
So,
almost as if we were made to do that, right, Christian?
Yes. I would say yes on that.
I would say yes. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and close this out because this has gotten, and this is once again, it's the TFD curse, I'm calling it. It is when I prepare episodes that I think are going to be absolutely insane dope.
That would be funny.
They are the worst. And then when I throw together some random nonsense, people are like, this is the best thing I've ever heard. And I'm always like, why do I even try? Why not just come in here and be like, yeah, here's some stories, you goons, now get out of here.
Maybe you should talk to the answer man.
I am the answer man.
I feel like I should use that candle bowl of water method someday just for the podcast.
What if you came in with all the answers? Like, holy shit.
And if I got possessed, you'd find a priest, right?
No. Probably wouldn't know.
True.
Anyway, we're closing it out with the Three Kings ritual.
I've seen that movie.
You're thinking of We Three Kings.
No. There's a movie called Three Kings. I think one of the Wahlbergs is in it.
George Clooney, Mark Wahlberg.
Okay.
Who was the other guy?
He was the token guy, wasn't he? Was it Cuba Gooding Jr.?
Was it? I don't think so. That might have been around the time he was popping off, but I'm pretty sure it was three white dudes.
All right. Tell me about the story, and then I'll let you know who that third guy was.
Anyway, the Three Kings ritual is a deeply unsettling occult game said to grant the participant communication with three mysterious entities known as the Kings. Originating...
Which would be bad if these kings were some of the kings of hell, right?
That would be bad. So, originating from Mexican folklore and spiritual traditions, this ritual blends indigenous beliefs with more modern occult practices. The premise is simple but dangerous. By lighting three candles in a triangular formation and chanting specific prayers or incantations, the participant invites the presence of the three kings into their space. What follows is often described as a series of intense paranormal experiences, including voices answering questions, strange sensations, and sometimes terrifying warnings. The ritual is thought to have roots in pre-Columbian Mesoamerica spirituality, where the number three often symbolized balance and power. Over time, these ancient concepts merged with Catholic symbolism brought by Spanish colonizers, creating a syncretic ritual that some practitioners see as bridging worlds, the spiritual and the earthly. This blending adds a layer of complexity and reverence to the game, making it both a spiritual experiment and a supernatural risk. Participants often report the candles flickering wildly or going out at seemingly random times, which many interpret as a sign of the king's displeasure or presence. So it could either mean that they're not pleased or that they're there. Okay, so the kings are either with me right now or they're pissed. Beautiful.
Sounds par for the course when it comes to kings. You can't ever trust them.
Really to be like that. Or you're just disappointed year after year. The voices heard during the ritual are described as deep and commanding, sometimes offering cryptic answers to personal or mystical questions. A few have even claimed to receive prophetic warnings or glimpses of future events. One account from a young woman in Mexico City details how she asked the kings about a loved one's health and later received news that confirmed the ritual's message. While skeptics chalk these stories up to coincidence or wishful thinking, for believers, these experiences reinforce the ritual's power. A striking feature of the Three Kings ritual is the emphasis on respect and strict adherence to rules. Failure to extinguish the candles properly or to follow the invocation sequence is said to provoke severe consequences, including hauntings, physical ailments, or psychological trauma. Damn. Some who have performed the ritual irresponsibly describe ongoing disturbances, voices in the night, objects moving, or an overwhelming feeling of dread that lingers long after the game ends. Scholars studying this ritual point to, I don't know how many scholars are doing that, but to its function as a rite of passage or spiritual test with certain communities.
Okay, I bet you there are like some, maybe like mythologist or something like that, or a sociologist probably a sociologist of some sort.
Perhaps. It demands courage and discipline, reflecting a belief that engaging with the unknown requires preparation and humility. This perspective frames the ritual less as a game and more as a profound spiritual encounter, which helps explain why it commands both fear and respect. The ritual's popularity surged in recent years due to social media and online occult forums where users shared detailed instructions, personal stories, and warnings. The increased exposure has sparked debates about cultural appropriation and the dangers of spreading sacred traditions outside their original context. Indigenous practitioners often caution outsiders against attempting the ritual without proper guidance, fearing disrespect or unintended spiritual harm. The Three Kings ritual has also inspired creative adaptations in popular culture. Horror stories, films, and podcasts have incorporated the concept, sometimes sensationalizing it, but also keeping its core mystery intact. Is that what we're doing? I don't think so. We're not sensationalizing shit.
I mean, I don't believe any of these.
That's true. So that's definitely not sensational. These portrayals contribute to the ritual's mythos, attracting thrill seekers and spiritual adventurers alike, while maintaining a veil of cautionary respect. For those brave enough to try, the Kings offer a glimpse into realms beyond ordinary experience, real or imagined. Their presence leaves an indelible mark on the soul.
Here's one way that all of these things could be true. If it's the same class of demon or whatever, spooky, supernatural thing.
Are you trying to make Monsters, Inc. into an actual horror story?
No, not in this case. I was thinking more there's different types of demons. Maybe just one particular group of demons handles the closets and the Bloody Marys and the Three Kings and the Answer Man.
There's a lot of creepy demons out there. Have you ever looked up the list of demons?
Yes.
Spooky stuff. Some really grotesque looking stuff.
I have some of them saved for future episodes, even though I don't believe in them.
Oh. You just like to do some research on things you don't believe in, huh?
Generally, that's how I find out
that you believe in
whether
them,
I should change my mind or not. So far, that hasn't happened very often.
You haven't been doing that great of research then, have you, Christian? Damn it.
I mean, I'm not one of those people. I do my own research because that always goes sideways, but...
Yeah, and there's no such thing as your own research unless you're actually in the field, okay? When you read something online, that's not doing your own research. You are actually reading someone else's research. And then you're saying, well, I believe this now, you know?
Also, if it can't be replicated, it's not good research. Bad science. That's what I just said.
I know. I was giving you a how do you do, Christian.
Thank you. I'm not used to that. I am wrong.
There you go.
That's more like it.
That's more my speed. Yeah. So anyway, that's all I got. Guys, I feel actually surprisingly horrible about this episode.
I would like to know, since I was being a kind of a jerk the whole time, have our listeners played any of these games and what experiences did they have? Maybe I would trust it more if one of our listeners gave us the lowdown.
That is usually the way it goes. Has anyone even heard of any of these games? All right. That's the real question, because I want to think that I'm still hip, that I still got it, you know?
And do you want us to add these type of games to our freaky deaky drinking game? Because it seems like drinking would be perfect for playing these games.
Wow.
As long as you're not underage. As long as you're not underage drinking.
Wow.
I mean, I'm being ridiculous, but
yeah. That last part didn't need to be said, Christian. No, it's fine. Guys, again, sorry, whenever we get back from a break, it gets weird, guys, and it gets weird, and if you're still here listening to this, you're apparently okay with it. All the losers left already, you know? And that's fine. Whatever, you know? So, yeah, again, weird TFD curse, man, I'm telling you. Every single time. Because I was actually really looking forward to this episode, and I feel like it did not come out the way that I had envisioned it. Which is weird. But par for the course. So don't worry. Next week we're talking about something that's kind of a mixed bag of creepy and true crime and all that fun stuff when we go deep down the rabbit hole of clowns. Until then, be sure to find us on social media at Freaky Deaky Pod. Wherever you are at, we are at that as well. Come talk to us. We are just two human beings in a converted garage. There's nothing special about either of us.
It's not what my mama said.
Yeah, well, she lied. It's the way it goes. Christian, it's fine. So come share your thoughts. Find us on Instagram, Facebook. Join the Facebook group. You can, guys, I don't know. I'm just over this. I'm over this episode. So I'm just going to go ahead and end it right there. We'll see you next week for Killer Clowns, Fear, and Face Paint. Goodbye.
Bigfoot is stalking by your window. Dogman is scratching at your door. Ghosties are walking up and down your halls at night, and the Hat Man is coming back for more. Your name is Christian. You love a can of beans, and you're the wettest blanket skeptic this world has ever seen. You're almost always wrong. It's quite an impressive streaky. This song is rambled on too long. Welcome to the Freaky Deaky. Your name is Christian. You're named ironically because the only belief you have can be found in a can of beans. You're almost never right, and now you get roasted weekly. This song is rambled on too long. Welcome to the Freaky Deaky. Also, ghosts exist, just an FYI. Aliens are feeling blue. The Ouija demon's lonely 'cause they believe in you. In you. Then we believe in you.
Testes, 1, 2, 3. I haven't used that one in a while. I wanted to think about my raw meat. What the fuck, man? I have a really good box.
Okay. Thanks for that, Christian. Beautiful work as always. I have to like readjust everything because it's been what, 3 weeks? Has it been 3 weeks or has it been longer?
It might have been 4.
Damn, we might have been 9 weeks ahead. That was crazy. Beautiful stuff. I got back from California. You got back from Colorado. We got back from places and nobody had any idea. We just left. The show went on as usual. I even completely fleshed out another show in my absence. And I found that when I'm actually away from doing all the production and everything, that the ideas that come to me are a lot better than the ones that when I'm constantly editing stuff. Like if I have a couple weeks off, that I think of the best ideas and things actually pan out.
So we need to work for 3 weeks and take 2 weeks off.
Maybe even longer, because the way the schedule is going to work now is we have, I think, 5 weeks in the chamber or something. And then after tonight, we'll have 7. And so the next week would be record 2 more regular episodes. And then after that, we do one special episode, 1 regular episode, and just kind of go with that to flesh out. I think by the end of the year, we'll probably be able to actually launch the Patreon or whatever it's going to end up being. Because
OnlyFans.
What's that?
OnlyFans.
Yeah.
That'd be funny.
That was still a great idea. Did you hear that? And was it the episode that came out this week or last week? We were talking about that where we just took pictures of Bigfoot, like Bigfoot feet and stuff like that, and have an OnlyFans account.
Is that why Bigfoot feet were over here on my chair?
It is not. No, I was recording something right here. I was doing a trial run of something I've been working on for like a year and a half that has absolutely nothing to do with this show, but I'm sure will be brought up at some point.
I don't even know what it is. So,
well, nobody. Actually, you know who you can blame for it? Tony, because I've told him that I wanted to do a stream of consciousness comedy podcast for the longest time, right? Where since I don't go to therapy anymore, I just want to come in here and just shit that is bugging me or on my mind. I just want to talk about it to nobody and complain for an hour.
That's weird.
You think it's weird, and honestly, it's just like a poor man's version of Congratulations with Delia, but
never heard of it.
Well, you've seen me watch it several times, but that's hands down one of the best shows of all time, podcast wise. And so I was like, that's a good idea. And for me, not wanting to just vent at everyone constantly all the time, I feel like it'd be a healthy thing for me to actually just sit here and just crack jokes and make fun of shit for an hour and then release it into the world. And I told Tony, I was like, I don't even expect anyone to listen to it. And he was like, well, that's too bad because I'm going to send me the branding in your first episode. I'm going to share it all over. I'm like, I don't know if that's the great idea. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that audience though, like picture that audience and then just me complaining about almonds or something.
I mean, that's all they're doing all the time is complaining.
Yeah, to a certain extent, sure.
No, to all extents. That's all I ever hear.
It depends on who you talk to, honestly.
I don't know. It's because of the generation I'm from, but also I'm kind of weird. I'm like, I don't even complain.
I don't know how weird you are, Christian.
A black.
What? That was the wrong button. That was the wrong button, but it's fine.
Follow Jesus.
As long as you follow it up with that, it's fine. It's fine.
The blacks follow Jesus. Is that what it just said? Someone's got to do it. Okay. That was a good pull. Good pull.
Yeah. Occasionally I'll forget that I save new files in when I'm editing. You'll say something absolutely just wild. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to set that aside. And then it'll be like 6 weeks will pass and I've been using the same buttons. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I saved some. I'll go in there. I'm like, oh, wow. Like, I mean,
I have a really good box.
Who would have thought,
What's in the box?
Okay. 7 reference.
Bad science.
That's what's in the box. Anyway. So
why are you calling out Graham Hancock on his bad science?
I don't do that. Yeah. At some point, and I thought it'd be funny for whatever show I end up doing to just hide it on our website somewhere. Kind of like I did with the sad songs and all the other Easter eggs that are on that website for whatever reason. But I have fun just adding Easter eggs to things. People don't know that. There's so many times in the episodes of Sleep with the Lights On that I will put something that nobody, and I know in my head, nobody's going to notice this. And I'll do it anyway.
I like Easter eggs.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw this is a great time to bring it up. Unfortunately, it was short-lived, but did you see the short that I posted on our Instagram? I think the most recent Sleep with the Lights On episode, I posted a short from that a few days ago.
I feel like I didn't see the short.
Yeah, oh, it's when you have like a garbled voice and like we sound like way too high.
Oh yes, I did see that.
Did you watch the end of it?
No.
Oh, well,
did I?
Well, you didn't react to it if you did.
I swear I saw that.
So yeah, that's been there for a while. Not too long though. Not long enough, if you ask me. Honestly, I just wanted it to be for another few episodes, but I was like, whatever. I'll throw in this short, and it was hilarious to me, and that's what matters.
How long ago was it?
I don't know why I don't post too often on the Instagram. It's the yeah.
Some very strange things happening around the temp, so it's fine. It makes you wonder, maybe certain dates you come out looking a certain way. What if that's the case? What if the reason we believe in, like, maybe doppelgangers is because they're at a certain time?
Yeah, I did see that. I think I was in Colorado when I saw that.
Yeah, I spent like 20 minutes finding the perfect angle to tape it underneath that. I was like, to where the camera could see it, but that you wouldn't notice it immediately. You can take it down. It's sitting right there.
I mean, I'm not wrong generally, so I don't have a problem.
The only downside is it doesn't focus on it too much because it's very small. But there's people that'll get it at some point, and that's fine. We still have to rearrange the studio before we shoot more Sleep with the Lights On. I want to bring those chairs up and then move things aside so that the background isn't as in focus. I want it to be more...
I'm just going to show up, and you're going to tell me what you need help with.
Move this here, put this there. Yeah.
I try to keep it simple.
That's the way to do it.
I'm like, do I need to store this information?
Yes. Always. Anyway, I guess we should probably get into the subject matter.
I smell like a hamburger.
Smokey.
When Smokey sings.
Wow.
Can you name that band, folks, if this makes the cut? That is an obscure band from the 80s. Not obscure. They were pretty popular back then, but
I'll take your word for it, honestly.
I used to love roller skating to their music.
Everyone take a nice visual snapshot of that. 4 wheels?
Yep. In Rancho Cucamonga at a place called Roller City.
2 on each side?
Yep.
That's the way to do it.
It's called quads.
Quads? Sure, why not? I wasn't.
I know you're an inline person.
Yeah, mainly.
I was too later on, but
yeah, the hockey is kind of hard with the quads.
Yeah. No, when I first started playing hockey, I played in a league and it was roller hockey. So there was a couple guys playing with quads.
Oh, yeah?
It was weird.
Were they good?
No.
Exactly. Yeah.
And they thought that, you know what helped them is their balance was a little bit better. But especially one of them, he still fell hard multiple times by me.
Oh, not necessarily falling hard at that point, is it?
He still bought me beers. Me and my teammates.
Well, yeah, because you bullied him into the ground every time he saw you. It's like the adult equivalent of milkman and lunch money.
Yeah.
Milkman and lunch money. What the hell was it? Your milk money, your lunch money. The milkman's not there. Everyone forget the milkman. All right. Unless he's being bullied for his lunch money. Brought it back around. Way to go.
I was not the bully. He was way bigger than me. He was just used to bullying everybody else. He was like 6'3", 250, maybe more.
Wow.
But he owned, do you ever hear of Schooners in Lancaster?
Yes.
He owned that.
Many of my friends played shows there.
Yeah. Yeah. He owned that place. He and his partner who used to play goalie for the team.
Oh, he was gay?
Not that kind of partner.
Oh, that's fine.
His team was like our arch rivals throughout all the years in roller hockey. It was brutal. It was fun, though.
Brutal roller hockey arch rivals. You heard it here first. It's fine.